A child disappeared in a shopping mall while his mother was on the phone. What the security cameras revealed about his whereabouts left everyone speechless. Clara Johnson woke up early that morning, as she usually did during the weeks leading up to her hospital shifts. The soft light of dawn filtered through the curtains of her small apartment, illuminating the serene face of her son, Matteo. At 6 years old, Matteo was a child full of curiosity and energy, always ready to explore the world around him with a contagious smile. After a quick morning routine, Clara prepared breakfast while Matteo played with his toys at the kitchen table. Their mother-son relationship was close. Clara always found time to listen to Matteo's stories about his imaginative adventures, despite the long hours she spent working as a nurse at the local hospital. For Clara, Matteo was her greatest motivation and source of joy. That afternoon, Clara decided it was the perfect time for a trip to the shopping mall. It was a place where Matteo could enjoy his favorite games, and she could take care of some necessary shopping. They arrived at the city's main shopping mall, a vast complex that combined fashion stores, varied restaurants, and entertainment areas for all ages. The bright lights and constant bustle created a vibrant and welcoming atmosphere. As they walked through the lobby, Clara noticed the familiar smile of Ana Torres, the mall's event coordinator. Ana was always busy organizing activities for children, yet she always found time to greet Clara and Matteo. "Hello, Clara. Ready for a fun afternoon?" Ana asked, giving Clara a quick hug. Matteo ran toward the play area, where Sophia Carter, a friendly employee with a passion for children, had already prepared a small magic show. Sophia leaned toward him and winked. "Would you like to see a special trick, Matteo?" Clara watched her son with a smile, appreciating Sophia's dedication to keeping the children entertained. Meanwhile, Luis Fernandez, one of the mall's security guards, patrolled the area. Luis was known for his kindness and willingness to help anyone in need. Today, as usual, he wore his impeccable uniform and greeted customers with a smile. Elsewhere in the mall, Mark Carter, the head of security, observed the activity from his office. Although he seemed calm and professional, there was something in his behavior that did not go unnoticed by those who knew him well. Mark was always on the lookout in every corner of the mall, ensuring everything ran smoothly. Clara took a deep breath, enjoying the controlled hustle and bustle of the place. She knew she would eventually need to focus on her shopping, but for now, she wanted to savor every moment with Matteo. She decided to take him to the movies to see the new superhero film he was so excited about. Meanwhile, Detective Laura Gomez, a family friend and trusted colleague, was strolling through the mall. Laura, who had left her police career to focus on security consulting, always found time to visit Clara and Matteo whenever possible. Her presence added an extra layer of safety and confidence to the environment. As they moved through the various stores, Clara and Matteo encountered several regular customers and employees who greeted them kindly. The toy store was especially busy, with children and parents checking out the latest releases. Matteo, his eyes shining, pointed at every new toy enthusiastically, while Clara carefully picked out some gifts for her nephew. The afternoon passed without incident, filled with laughter and conversation. Clara felt grateful to have such a safe and entertaining place to spend time with her son. However, somewhere behind the mall's cheerful facade, secrets were brewing that would soon test Clara's resolve and the security of the place they both loved. When they arrived at the movie theater, Clara paid for the tickets and they headed to their seats. Matteo was excited, shifting from one foot to the other in anticipation of the film he was about to see. As they looked for their seats, Clara couldn't help but notice how Laura Gomez discreetly scanned the area, making sure everything was in order. Finally settled, the lights dimmed, and the screen lit up with vibrant images. Clara glanced at Matteo, whose face was illuminated by the glow of the screen, reflecting pure happiness. At that moment, everything seemed perfect. A devoted mother, a beloved son, and a safe environment to enjoy an afternoon together. However, like everything in life, that sense of peace was about to fade. and what began as a normal day at the mall was about to turn into an experience none of them would ever forget. The afternoon continued peacefully in the shopping mall. Clara Johnson and her son Matteo were enjoying the superhero movie, immersed in the plot and the vivid images filling the screen. Clara watched her son fondly, reminded of how quickly Matteo was growing and how lucky she was to share these moments with him. Suddenly, Clara's cell phone rang, interrupting the relaxed atmosphere of the theater. It was a call from the hospital where she worked as a nurse. Clara answered with a smile, expecting a quick conversation, but the voice on the other end had an urgent tone. "Clara, we need you to come in immediately. There's an emergency in the intensive care unit," said Dr. Hernandez, her boss. Clara's heart skipped a beat. Although she had left work for the occasional emergency, she hadn't expected this to happen during her free time. She looked at Matteo, who was absorbed in the movie, and made a quick decision. "Matteo, honey, I have to take an important call. How about I leave you in the play area for a while?" "I'll be back soon," Clara explained calmly, though her mind was already racing with concern about her work obligations. Matteo nodded enthusiastically, running toward the play area where Sophia Carter, the friendly employee, was already waiting for him with a smile. "Sure, Mom. I'll wait here while you take care of things," Matteo replied, giving Sophia a hug before heading off to play. Clara thanked Sophia and headed to a VIP room designated for work emergencies within the mall. As she walked, she couldn't help but notice the usual hubbub of the place: children's laughter, animated conversations, and the distant sound of music from the stores. Still, a growing unease settled in her mind, knowing the hospital required her urgently. Inside the VIP room, Clara tried to focus on the call, but her thoughts were divided between work and her worries about Matteo. She decided to respond quickly, ensuring everything was under control at the hospital before returning to the mall. While Clara tended to urgent matters, Matteo enjoyed an impromptu magic show performed by an enthusiastic employee named Javier. Javier did card and coin tricks, captivating the children with his skills. Matteo, his eyes sparkling with excitement, moved around, completely absorbed in the show. At one point, Javier invited Matteo on stage for a special trick. Matteo, without hesitation, stepped up, leaving the other children behind. Clara, still busy in the VIP room, didn't realize her son was moving away from the supervised play area. The mall's security cameras recorded every move. From the main corridor to a little-traveled back hallway, the footage showed Matteo gradually wandering off while Clara dealt with the emergency. In that back hallway, Matteo vanished from sight almost immediately, leaving no trace. It was only when Clara finished her call that she checked her phone and noticed Matteo wasn't replying to her messages. Panic coursed through her. She rushed out of the VIP room and ran toward the play area, calling her son's name. "Matteo!" Clara shouted desperately, her voice echoing through the mall's corridors. But there was no answer. Clara searched frantically among the toys, swings, and play structures, asking Sophia if she had seen Matteo. Sophia shook her head, just as alarmed, and they began scouring the mall together for any sign of Matteo. At that moment, Ana Torres, the events coordinator, approached, concerned by Clara's distressed expression. "What's wrong, Clara?" Ana asked, noticing the fear in the mother's eyes. "Matteo has disappeared. We were in the play area, and now I can't find him," Clara answered, her voice trembling. Ana immediately contacted Mall Security, alerting Luis Fernandez, the security guard. Upon receiving the call, Luis activated the emergency protocol and summoned Detective Laura Gomez, who happened to be visiting the mall as Clara's friend. Meanwhile, in the security office, Mark Carter was observing the camera footage with a calculating gaze. Something about Matteo's disappearance felt familiar to him, but he decided not to intervene just yet, preferring to maintain his professional demeanor. Clara and Sophia joined Ana and Luis, forming a small search party. Laura arrived quickly, greeting them with a serious expression when she saw what was happening. "Let's check the security cameras," Laura announced, taking control of the situation. Together, they began analyzing the footage for any clues about Matteo's whereabouts. The footage revealed how Matteo, drawn to the magic show, had wandered into a quieter, less busy back hallway. Laura noticed suspicious movements and manipulations in the recordings, suggesting something bigger was at play behind the child's disappearance. As Clara watched the footage, a new wave of panic hit her upon realizing that not only had Matteo disappeared. Reviewing more recordings, they discovered that several valuable items had also gone missing from different stores, all around the same time Matteo left. "This isn't just about Matteo's disappearance. Something else is going on here," Clara said, her face pale. Laura nodded, understanding the magnitude of the problem. Matteo's disappearance was just the tip of the iceberg. There were signs of a larger, more dangerous connection within the shopping mall, and Clara knew she had to find her son before it was too late. The mall's atmosphere, once vibrant and cheerful, was now tinged with fear and suspicion. Clara, supported by Laura, Anna, Sophia, and Luis, prepared to confront a situation that would test her courage and determination. What started as a normal day was quickly turning into a nightmare, and Clara was determined to unravel the mystery surrounding her beloved son's disappearance. Chaos had engulfed the shopping mall following Matteo's disappearance. Still trembling with anguish, Clara Johnson wasted no time taking action. She immediately picked up her phone and contacted the mall's security team, followed by an urgent call to the local police. Her voice quivered as she explained the situation, trying to remain calm so as not to further alarm her son. Within minutes, flashing blue and red patrol lights began to illuminate the mall's lobby. Uniformed officers quickly fanned out, blocking the main entrances and securing the high-traffic areas. Among them stood Detective Laura Gomez, a trusted colleague of Clara's and a close friend of the family. Middle-aged, with an authoritative yet composed bearing, Laura reached out to Clara to reassure her and promised they would do everything possible to find Matteo. "Clara, I understand how distressing this must be for you," Laura said, placing a comforting hand on the mother's shoulder. "Let's review the security cameras immediately and organize a thorough search." Taking charge with admirable efficiency, Laura headed to a monitoring room filled with multiple screens showing live footage from cameras stationed throughout the mall. With a decisive gesture, she instructed the technicians to start reviewing the recordings from the moment Clara and Matteo arrived at the venue. As the footage played, Laura watched each detail closely. She noted how Matteo, distracted by the magic show, had wandered away from the supervised play area. Yet something about the behavior of certain employees and customers caught her attention. Furtive movements, nervous glances, and access to restricted areas that seemed out of the ordinary. "Look at this," Laura said, pointing to a portion of the footage where a suspicious-looking man was lurking near the back hallways. "This individual has been acting strangely over the past few weeks. I've noticed him a few times, but I never thought he'd be involved in something like this." Clara observed the images with growing concern. Detecting suspicious movements suggested that Matteo's disappearance could be linked to something larger and darker within the mall. Laura decided to broaden her search and focus on the lesser-traveled zone where Matteo had vanished. "It looks like there's a hidden escape route here," Laura remarked, indicating a narrow corridor that led to a less visible part of the mall. "We'll need access to those service doors and to check any possible hiding spots." Meanwhile, Luis Fernandez, the security guard who first received the alert, joined the investigation team. Known for his loyalty and dedication, Luis had been a key player in spotting the initial suspicious movements. Laura asked him to inspect the less frequented areas of the mall's security zones and verify whether any restricted access points might have been tampered with. "Luis, we need you to comb through all the back corridors and see if there are alternative routes someone could have used," Laura said firmly. Luis nodded, grabbed his radio, and left the monitoring room with determination. Meanwhile, Ana Torres, the mall's events coordinator, helped organize employees to assist in the search, directing them toward the mall's most critical areas. A sense of tension and urgency filled the place. Every passing minute increased the pressure on the investigation team. Laura couldn't escape the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, aware that every decision could prove crucial to finding Matteo safe and sound. In another part of the mall, Mark Carter watched from his office with an impassive expression. Although his role as head of security positioned him as a potential ally, Laura sensed there was something in his demeanor she couldn't fully decipher. She decided to keep an eye on him, suspecting he might be a key piece in the puzzle they were trying to solve. After a meticulous review of the footage, Laura identified several suspicious activities in the quiet section of the mall. There were storage areas and underground tunnels not open to the general public, and these movements coincided with the route Matteo had taken before disappearing. "Clara, it appears someone has been using these hidden pathways to move around undetected," Laura explained, indicating the images. "This not only explains Matteo's disappearance, but also the missing valuables from several stores." A chill ran down Clara's spine at Laura's words. The connection between the disappearances and the thefts suggested a highly organized and potentially dangerous operation inside the mall. Laura decided to expand the investigation, deploying more officers to cover all potential areas where Matteo might be held. As the team prepared for a more intensive search, Laura maintained constant communication with Clara, giving her support and updates on the investigation's progress. The determination in Laura's eyes reflected her unwavering commitment to resolve the case and bring Matteo safely home. The tension in the mall refused to subside. Each dark corner and quiet hallway seemed to hide secrets that Laura was determined to uncover. Matteo's disappearance had sparked a chain reaction that would expose the hidden cracks in what had seemed like a safe, familiar place. With suspense running high and the urgency to find Matteo at all costs, the investigation was only just beginning. Supported by Laura and the security team, Clara now faced a terrifying reality. The shopping mall that had once been the backdrop to many happy moments had turned into a maze of mystery and danger. Laura Gomez's resolve, Clara's determination, and everyone's collaboration would be crucial to unravel the truth and rescue Matteo before it was too late. The investigation into Matteo's disappearance had progressed rapidly. Detective Laura Gomez, known for her thoroughness and dedication, immersed herself in the mall's security footage. Yet upon carefully reviewing the tapes, she noticed something unusual. Laura scrutinized the footage capturing Matteo's departure from the play area. Certain parts of the video looked distorted, blurry sections that didn't match the normal flow of the recordings. Moreover, strange digital symbols appeared at key moments, as though someone had deliberately interfered to alter the visual evidence. "This isn't a technical glitch," Laura murmured, her brow furrowed. "Someone has tampered with these cameras." With this revelation, the atmosphere in the monitoring room became even more tense. Laura knew they were dealing with something more than a simple disappearance. She decided to share her findings with Clara Johnson, knowing that every clue could be crucial to solving the case. Still overwhelmed with concern for her son, Clara promptly answered Laura's call. Despite her exhaustion, she remained determined, ready to do whatever it took to find Matteo. "Laura, what did you find?" Clara asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I've noticed some tampering with the security footage," Laura explained. "There are blurry sections and digital symbols that shouldn't be there. This suggests that someone has tried to hide something or throw us off track." Clara took a deep breath, trying to process the information. "Do you think this is connected to Matteo's disappearance?" "It's highly likely," Laura replied. "Not only does someone want Matteo gone, they also want to cover up other activities inside the mall." With this new layer of complexity added to the case, Clara decided to contact her friend Ana Torres, the mall's events coordinator. Ana had always been a dependable ally, and Clara knew she could provide valuable insights. Ana answered almost immediately, hearing the urgency in Clara's voice. "Clara, what's going on?" Ana asked, concerned. "I need your help. We've discovered that the security cameras have been tampered with. I think it's related to Matteo's disappearance," Clara stated bluntly. Ana mentally took note of the details and replied with resolve. I'll help in any way I can. I know this mall inside and out, and I can help spot any unusual activity that might have gone unnoticed. Meanwhile, Luis Fernandez, the security guard who initially alerted them to suspicious movements, was summoned by Laura for his input on the case. Known for his sharp eye and dedication to the mall's security, Luis had noticed odd behaviors in the weeks leading up to Mateo's disappearance. "Detective Gomez, I haven't just seen strange movements recently," Luis said, worry evident in his voice. "Some of the employees have been more nervous than usual. Their schedules changed, and a few stayed after their shifts without any apparent reason." Laura nodded, appreciating the added information. "Have you noticed anything more specific? Any pattern or particular behavior that stood out?" Luis thought a moment before responding. "There's an employee, Mark Carter, the head of security, who's been acting suspiciously. He always seems to be in places he shouldn't be, and he's had access to restricted areas of the mall that aren't really under his direct supervision." Laura frowned upon hearing Mark's name. She recalled his impassive demeanor during the initial search, and now she began to see signs that might connect Mark to the camera tampering and Mateo's disappearance. "Thank you, Luis. This is very useful. We'll look more into Mark's activities and any possible connections he might have to this case." With Ana Torres and Luis Fernandez as key allies, the investigation team began weaving together a clearer picture of what was happening at the mall. Drawing on her knowledge of past events, Ana pinpointed possible gaps in surveillance and unusual movements that might have gone unnoticed. Meanwhile, Luis provided internal insight into employees and their recent behaviors, adding crucial context to the scale of the conspiracy. The camera tampering hinted that someone with privileged access was trying to conceal their actions. Laura knew unraveling this network would require not just following obvious clues, but also understanding the motivations behind the suspect's behavior. As the team delved deeper into the case, Clara wrestled with a mix of hope and fear. Every new lead brought them closer to the truth, but also exposed the complexity and danger posed by their adversary. Even so, Laura's determination, Anna's unwavering support, and Luis's loyalty strengthened Clara's resolve to find Mateo and dismantle the conspiracy threatening the mall's security. Afternoon turned into night, and the search carried on with renewed urgency. The first clues had opened new lines of investigation, and the team was more united than ever, ready to take on the challenge. What began as a normal day had turned into a desperate mission to rescue a child and uncover the dark secrets hidden behind the mall's bright lights. The investigation was moving along smoothly, yet Laura Gomez felt there was a crucial missing piece to the puzzle. As she combed through a series of old documents on mall security, she found something that caught her eye. A disappearance report from 10 years ago, remarkably similar to the current case. It involved a missing boy named Samuel Ortega, who vanished under nearly identical circumstances to Mateo. Intrigued, Laura decided to discuss this discovery with Clara Johnson. She called for a private meeting in one of the mall's offices, a place where they could talk uninterrupted. Clara arrived, visibly exhausted but still determined, accompanied by Ana Torres and Luis Fernandez. "Laura, what did you find?" Clara asked, noting her friend's serious expression. "I found out that 10 years ago, a boy named Samuel Ortega disappeared in this same mall," Laura explained, spreading the report out on the table. "The circumstances are surprisingly similar to Mateo's disappearance. I don't think this is a coincidence." A knot formed in Clara's stomach. She vaguely remembered that case, fragments of memories she had always kept at the back of her mind. Her father, Donato Johnson, had been one of the detectives who worked on the investigation. Though the case was never fully solved, it left a deep mark on her family. "My father was in charge of that case," Clara said quietly. "We never managed to find Samuel, and he always wondered what really happened." Laura nodded, recognizing Clara's personal connection to the case. "I believe Mateo's abduction might be related to what happened 10 years ago," Laura continued. "We need more information on the Ortega case. Maybe there are clues we overlooked back then that can help us now. A surge of emotion flooded Clara. She recalled her father working tirelessly to find Samuel, remembering how much she had admired his commitment and dedication to justice. "I'll look through whatever I have from that time," Clara said, a spark of determination lighting her eyes. "There might be something we can tie to Matteo's case." As Clara immersed herself in the old files, her mind drifted back to the past. Memories of that time sharpened in her mind. She pictured her father, Donato Johnson, serious but kind, spending long hours in the detective's office. Nights were particularly grueling, strewn with messy papers and maps of the mall covered in notes. Flashback. It was a rainy afternoon when Donato received the call about Samuel Ortega's disappearance. The 8-year-old had vanished from a play area similar to the one where Matteo had now gone missing. Donato arrived at the shopping mall with a mix of urgency and composure, trying to reassure Samuel's distraught parents. "Don't worry, we'll do everything we can to find Samuel," Donato assured them, his voice firm yet comforting. Over the following days, Donato and his team reviewed the security camera footage, interviewed employees and customers, and searched every corner of the mall. Yet despite their efforts, Samuel was never found. The investigation came to a standstill, leaving Donato with more questions than answers. Clara looked over the documents with growing unease. She noticed a note scribbled in the margin of one of the old reports. "Unconventional escape route detected near storage areas." This annotation reminded Laura of the hidden route they had recently discovered in the present. "This is unsettling," murmured Clara. "If someone used a similar escape route 10 years ago, we could be dealing with the same person or group." Laura examined the note with interest. "This could be an important clue," she remarked. "We need to get access to those routes and see if there's a direct connection to the current case." Clara felt a mix of hope and fear. Thinking the past might hold answers for the present was both reassuring and terrifying. Her father had never solved Samuel's case, and now she was determined not to let another mother and child face the same uncertainty. As she continued reviewing the files, Clara found another key piece of evidence: a photograph of her father with the young detective who had led the Ortega case. In the corner of the photo, a handwritten note said, "I trust we'll find the truth." This memory bolstered her resolve to pursue the investigation to its conclusion. Back in the present, Laura and Clara began drawing parallels between the two cases. The tampered cameras, digital symbols, and hidden escape routes all pointed to repeating patterns. Clara recalled how her father had tried to decipher these same clues, but without success. "Maybe what happened 10 years ago is happening again," Clara reflected. "We need to understand what drove whoever's behind this so we can anticipate their next move." Ana Torres and Luis Fernandez joined the discussion, adding their recent observations and expertise. Ana recalled special events and activities the mall had hosted over the past decade, searching for any link to the current case. Luis, meanwhile, combed through employee schedules and recent movements, looking for suspicious patterns. Tension and resolve filled the investigation office. Each new discovery seemed to open more doors to a hidden truth, and Clara felt the weight of her father's legacy bearing down on her. The connection to the past not only gave a new perspective on Matteo's disappearance, but also deepened her understanding of the risks and challenges they faced. As night fell over the shopping mall, the investigative team worked tirelessly, driven by the urgency to find Matteo and unearth the mystery that had lingered for a decade. Remembering her father's teachings and spirit, Clara drew the strength she needed to confront the dark secrets hidden behind the mall's bright lights. What had once been an unsolved case was now entwined with the present, revealing that some mysteries do not fade with time, but re-emerge with renewed intensity, challenging those who seek the truth never to give up. The investigation was making great strides, and Detective Laura Gomez could not ignore the alarming similarities between Matteo's disappearance and the case from 10 years ago. By carefully reviewing the reports and footage, Laura noticed disturbing patterns in the kidnapper's modus operandi. Both cases showed similar elements: choosing a busy play area, using hidden escape routes, and tampering with security cameras to cover their tracks. "Clara, there's something else we need to consider," Laura said, meeting with her again in the investigation office. "The modus operandi isn't just similar. There also seems to be a unique signature the kidnapper leaves at each scene." Clara nodded, a chill running down her spine. The idea that past and present were so closely intertwined heightened her urgency to find her son. As Laura delved deeper into the details, a key piece emerged from the old files: the name Mark Carter, the current head of mall security. According to the records, Mark had been involved in the Ortega investigation 10 years ago, but his role had been minimal and he had never been thoroughly questioned. "Clara, something doesn't add up," Laura remarked, pointing to a document on the screen. "Mark Carter was at the mall during Samuel Ortega's disappearance, yet his involvement was never fully looked into. Plus, there are reports of suspicious behavior from him around that time." Clara vaguely remembered Mark. He had always seemed professional and dedicated. She never suspected him. Now, with new evidence, something about his behavior felt disturbingly familiar. "My father mentioned Mark in some of his notes," Clara said. "He didn't go into much detail, but he seemed to distrust him. He always said Mark was too perfect to be true." Laura nodded, recognizing how personal this was for Clara. "We need to look deeper into Mark's past. If he's linked to both disappearances somehow, he could be the missing link in this chain of events," Laura explained. Determined to uncover the truth, Clara and Laura began investigating Mark Carter's background. They discovered that a decade ago, he had been one of the main security officials at the mall, overseeing not just public areas, but also restricted zones and surveillance systems. "Take a look at this," Laura said, showing Clara an old email. Mark had full access to all the security cameras and the mall's escape routes. He could have tampered with the footage to hide his own movements or the kidnappers. Clara felt a mixture of anger and betrayal. How could someone they trusted possibly be involved in something so sinister? As they dug deeper, unsettling details about Mark came to light. He had a personal conflict with the Ortega family, the parents of the boy who disappeared 10 years ago. Old testimonies indicated that Mark had had a heated dispute with Samuel's father, Donato Johnson, concerning the mall's security management. Donato suspected Mark was withholding crucial information that might have helped solve the case, creating palpable tension between them. "This explains a lot," Laura reflected. "If Mark had a personal motive for clashing with Donato, maybe he's seeking revenge. He could see Matteo's disappearance as a chance to continue his unresolved vendetta." Hearing this, Clara felt the weight of her family legacy pressed down on her. Her father had devoted his life to solving Samuel's case, and now she found herself in a parallel situation, fighting to locate her own son. "We have to confront him," Clara decided resolutely. "We can't let him keep doing this. If he's behind Matteo's disappearance, he needs to be stopped." Laura agreed and suggested they would need solid evidence before taking any direct action. They decided the next phase of their investigation would focus on gathering proof connecting Mark to both cases, something that could hold up with the police and ensure everyone's safety at the mall. Meanwhile, the atmosphere at the mall grew increasingly tense. Employees and shoppers were on high alert, aware that something sinister was going on. As for Mark Carter, he maintained a professional facade, but beneath the surface, his demeanor had changed. He seemed more withdrawn and vigilant, as though constantly assessing everyone around him. One night, Clara decided to visit her father's old office to comb through his disorganized files and notes in search of additional clues. Among them, she found a journal in which Donato had documented his suspicions about Mark. The entries detailed times when Mark had behaved oddly and resisted sharing crucial information about the mall's security. "Dad knew something I didn't," Clara whispered, feeling a profound connection to the past and a renewed determination to follow her father's footsteps. Back in the present, Laura and Clara took their findings to the police, emphasizing the link between the two cases and Mark Carter's possible involvement. Once the police saw the strength of the evidence, they agreed to conduct a thorough review of Mark's background and recent activities. Tension peaked when Clara and Laura confronted Mark in his office. He maintained his usual composure, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of nervousness. "You suspected I had something to do with the disappearances?" Clara asked, her voice firm yet laden with emotion. Mark tried to stay calm, but Laura already had enough to dismantle his act. With irrefutable proof of his role in tampering with the cameras and his connection to both cases, Mark finally dropped the pretense. "You have no idea what's at stake," he exclaimed, revealing his true motive. "Donato ruined me. I want justice for what he did to me." In that moment, the truth came to light. Driven by vengeance and past traumas, Mark Carter had orchestrated it all to carry out his dark plan. His confession not only heightened the tension, but also marked a crucial turning point in the investigation, drawing Clara and Laura closer to rescuing Matteo and dismantling the conspiracy threatening them all. With each revelation, the darkness cloaking the shopping mall receded a little more, making way for the hope and determination Clara and her team needed to cut the twisted ties that had loomed over them for a decade. Night had fallen over the shopping mall, cloaking the vast complex in a hushed darkness, broken only by the flickering security cameras and the faint hum of electrical systems. As the investigation pressed forward, new layers of mystery and danger emerged, testing the resolve of those striving to uncover the truth. Sophia Carter, the younger sister of Mark, watched the unfolding events with growing concern. Although she had always admired her brother for his dedication and professionalism, she had recently noticed strange behaviors that she couldn't ignore. Mark, once a figure of authority and trust at the shopping mall, now seemed distant and withdrawn, as though carrying an invisible weight on his shoulders. One afternoon, while Sophia was organizing materials for a children's event, she received an anonymous text message that made her pause. It simply read, "I know what you're doing, Sophia. Don't trust Mark." Intrigued and alarmed, Sophia decided to investigate further. She knew confronting her brother directly might be risky, so she opted to look for clues discreetly. Meanwhile, Ana Torres was working closely with Clara to reach out to other employees and customers at the mall. Using her position as events coordinator, Ana gained access to exclusive areas and spoke with people who might have relevant information. Together, they discovered that several employees and customers had felt a watchful presence while shopping, as though someone was constantly observing them. "It's as if someone is following their movements," Ana remarked as she went over the reports. Many mentioned seeing a male figure near the play zones and storage areas. Clara nodded, realizing this could be tied to the camera tampering and Matteo's disappearance. They decided to interview some of these witnesses for a clearer picture of what was happening. In the meantime, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She decided to pay her brother a visit, under the pretext of discussing preparations for an upcoming event. Upon entering his office, she noticed Mark seemed more tense than usual, frantically reviewing documents and making urgent phone calls. "Hey, Mark," Sophia greeted him with a forced smile. "I just wanted to make sure everything's set for tomorrow's event." Mark looked up, trying to hide his nervousness. "Yes, Sophia. Everything's under control," he answered, but his voice betrayed his unease. Sophia, however, sensed something different in his behavior. She decided to press him gently. "Mark, are you okay? You seem worried." Before Mark could respond, an alarm siren began to sound in the distance, cutting their conversation short. They both looked toward the window, watching as emergency lights illuminated the mall's corridors. "We have to go," Mark said hurriedly, moving away from his desk. Sophia followed, feeling a mix of concern and curiosity. As they approached the affected area, Mark tried to remain calm, but his agitation was obvious. Upon arriving, they discovered that a section of the mall was being evacuated due to an alleged security system failure. "It must be a false alarm," Mark muttered, although his eyes showed uncertainty. Sophia decided not to stop there. She knew something was off and that her brother was involved somehow. She returned to his office to look through some documents he had left unattended, hoping to find a clue explaining Mark's behavior. Back in the meeting room, Clara and Anna were finishing up an interview with a customer who felt someone watching him while he shopped for clothes. His testimony reinforced the theory that someone was closely monitoring people's movements inside the mall. This isn't just about a string of thefts or a disappearance, Clara reflected. It looks like there's real intent behind all this, coordination beyond what we had imagined. Anna nodded, worried. And if we're dealing with someone who has access to multiple areas of the mall, we could be facing an organized group. Just then, Sophia returned to the events office with an envelope in hand. She had found a document her brother had accidentally left behind. On opening it, she discovered a series of notes and diagrams detailing escape routes and restricted access points within the mall. "Clara, Anna," Sophia called, joining them. "I think I found something. These are floor plans of the mall with marks on certain areas. Have you seen these symbols before?" Clara and Anna examined the plans, recognizing the escape routes Laura had previously mentioned. "This confirms that there are hidden routes," Clara said. "Someone with insider knowledge has been using them." Sophia looked at Clara with a conflicted expression. She knew that if her brother was involved, exposing him could endanger everyone. Nevertheless, she felt a responsibility to stop him. "I need to know more about what you're doing," Sophia admitted. "And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm willing." Clara nodded, grateful for the unexpected help. "Any information you can give us would be invaluable. Together, we can stop this and find Matteo." As the team continued gathering clues and connecting the threads of the mystery, tension at the mall rose. Dangerous alliances began to form, and each new revelation deepened the enigma surrounding Matteo's disappearance. Sophia, torn between loyalty to her brother and her desire for justice, found herself at a crucial crossroads that would determine the fate of everyone involved. Night wore on, and with each step they took, Clara and her team moved closer to uncovering the hidden truth behind the mall's walls. The shadow of dark ties grew longer, yet Clara's resolve, strengthened by Anna's and Sophia's support, shone with the hope of soon discovering how to rescue Matteo and put an end to the conspiracy that threatened to destroy everything they knew. The investigation delved ever deeper into the mall's darkest corners. Clara Johnson and Detective Laura Gomez had gathered enough clues to begin seeing the full scope of the conspiracy threatening to engulf the entire complex. After analyzing the plans found by Sophia Carter and linking the dots between the decade-old case and the current one, they reached a startling conclusion. "Clara, we've found something serious," Laura said, her voice laden with worry as she sorted through the documents in front of her. Not only was Mark Carter tampering with the security cameras, he also designed escape routes and secret hideouts inside the mall. Clara felt a knot in her stomach. This revelation confirmed her worst fears about Mark's role in both disappearances. "How can someone in such a high-level position have planned all of this?" Clara asked, trying to keep her composure while her mind raced through the implications of this new information. Laura nodded, pointing to a series of internal emails and contracts that detailed Mark's security projects over the last few years. Mark had full access to the facilities and knew every corner of the mall. He used that knowledge to create escape routes only he and his accomplices could navigate. Plus, he recruited several key employees, including Luis Fernandez, offering them money and protection in exchange for their loyalty. Hearing Luis's name left Clara feeling even more distraught. Luis, the security guard who initially alerted them to suspicious movements, was now a pivotal piece of the puzzle. "We need to talk to Luis," Clara said firmly. "If he's involved, he could help us dismantle this ring from the inside." Meanwhile, Luis Fernandez was feeling increasing unease. Mark's promises of a better life and financial stability had once seemed appealing, but now, upon discovering the true purpose behind his actions, Luis began to question everything he had done. That night, Luis found himself alone in his small apartment, replaying recent events in his mind. Laura's words echoed. Mark recruited multiple employees, offering them money or protection. Luis recalled the moments when Mark had offered incentives to follow his orders, justifying each action as necessary to maintain order and security at the mall. "What am I doing?" he murmured to himself, feeling guilt weigh heavily on him. "I can't let this go on." He decided it was time to do the right thing. He contacted Laura in secret, expressing his doubts and offering his help to dismantle the conspiracy. "Luis, thank you for your courage," Laura replied upon receiving his message. "We need all the help we can get to expose Mark and save Mateo." Meanwhile, Clara and Laura organized a meeting with Ana Torres and Sofia Carter to discuss the next steps. They had discovered that Mark wasn't acting alone. A network of employees supported his illicit activities. However, with Luis's help, they now had a real chance to dismantle this conspiracy from within. "Luis, your insider knowledge is crucial," Laura explained. "We need you to guide us to the hideouts and escape routes Mark has set up." Luis agreed, committing fully to the investigation. Together, they crafted a plan to infiltrate the mall's most sensitive areas, using Luis's information to avoid detection by Mark's other accomplices. While the team prepared for the operation, Sofia wrestled with her own demons. Her loyalty to her brother clashed with her thirst for justice and her commitment to Clara and the investigative team. She knew confronting Mark meant facing her own family history and dealing with the impact this would have on their relationship. "I can't believe my brother did this," Sofia confided in Clara during one of their meetings. "I always thought of him as a fair man, but now I see he had hidden motives I never knew about." Clara comforted her, understanding Sofia's inner turmoil. "What matters is that you're here to help us now. Together, we can stop him and save Mateo." The atmosphere in the mall grew more and more charged. Every move was critical, and time was running out. Armed with Luis's information and supported by Ana and Sofia, Clara and Laura prepared to confront Mark and his network of collaborators. At last, the moment to act arrived. Clara, Laura, Ana, Sofia, and Luis met in a conference room to finalize the details of the operation. They all understood they would face unforeseen dangers, but their commitment to rescue Mateo and dismantle the conspiracy gave them the strength they needed. "This is our chance to end all of this," Clara said, looking each ally in the eye. "We can't fail." After one last review of their plan, the team split up to cover different areas of the mall, ready to face any obstacle that lay ahead. The uncovering of the conspiracy had not only heightened the tension and mystery, but also united the team in a common mission, driven by the hope of rescuing Mateo and restoring security and trust to the place they all cared for. As they ventured into the mall's shadows, Clara felt a blend of fear and determination. She knew the confrontation with Mark Carter would be pivotal for everyone's fate, yet she also believed that, with her allies by her side, they could overcome any obstacle and bring the truth to light. Night had fallen over the shopping mall, yet activity inside the complex had not subsided. Clara Johnson, Detective Laura Gomez, Ana Torres, Sofia Carter, and Luis Fernandez were more united than ever, each facing their own challenges as they worked to dismantle Mark Carter's conspiracy. The subplots that had emerged were beginning to converge, bringing the team one step closer to the truth. Sofia Carter had spent the last few days wrestling with her feelings toward her brother, Mark. Learning of his involvement in the disappearances and thefts had shattered the image she once had of him. Yet her familial love and her desire for justice pushed her to make a crucial decision. One afternoon, while reviewing the mall's blueprints she had found, Sofia decided to speak with Clara in private. They met at a small cafe inside the shopping mall, where Sofia revealed her doubts and her determination to help. "Clara, I can't keep watching my own brother destroy everything we've built," Sofia confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "I can't let him carry on like this. I want to help you stop him." Clara nodded, grateful for Sophia's courage. "Your help will be invaluable, Sophia. With your insider knowledge and access to restricted areas, we can find Matteo and expose Mark once and for all." Sophia felt relieved to know she wasn't alone in this fight. Her decision to join the team strengthened their alliance, providing a first-hand perspective that could prove decisive to the operation's success. Luis Fernandez, the security guard initially recruited by Mark, had been living an inner nightmare. Mark's promises of financial stability and protection had once seemed legitimate, but now, upon realizing the true intent behind Mark's actions, Luis found himself questioning everything he had done. One night, alone in his apartment, Luis replayed recent events in his mind. Laura's words rang out. "Mark has recruited several employees, offering them money or protection." Luis remembered how he had been persuaded to follow orders, justifying each action as necessary to maintain the mall's safety. "What have I done?" he murmured to himself, guilt tightening its grip on him. "I can't let this go on." Determined to make things right, Luis contacted Laura in secret, expressing his doubts and offering his help to bring down the conspiracy. "Luis, thank you for your courage," Laura replied upon getting his message. "We need all the help we can get to expose Mark and save Matteo." Thanks to Luis, the team gained privileged information about Mark's internal operations. He provided details about the escape routes and hidden stashes Mark had created, enabling them to map out the mall's most critical areas. Meanwhile, Ana Torres continued investigating the minor thefts and disappearances that had taken place at the mall over the years. Using her position as events coordinator, she had access to records and data other employees could not see. While examining security files and incident reports, Ana noticed an alarming pattern. The minor thefts and disappearances coincided with special events and specific schedules, suggesting meticulous coordination behind each act. "Clara, Laura," Ana said during a meeting, "I've found connections between the minor thefts and the disappearances. They seem to be timed around special events and certain schedules. Someone's been using these moments to act without being detected." Clara studied the reports with Ana, recognizing the significance of their findings. "This confirms Mark hasn't been acting alone. There's a network of collaborators helping him pull this off," Clara commented. "We need to identify those collaborators and figure out how Mark's been using them," Ana added gravely. "With that information, we can bring down the network for good." With Sophia and Luis now serving as key allies, the team began to piece together a clearer picture of Mark's collaborators. Luis gave them the names and information of other employees Mark had recruited, some seemingly trapped by financial promises or fear of reprisals. Armed with this new information, Laura and Clara set up discreet interviews with the employees Luis had mentioned. They discovered many had been manipulated into performing specific tasks during major events, unwittingly aiding the robberies and disappearances. "We didn't know exactly what we were involved in," said one remorseful employee. "Mark told us it was all for the mall's safety and that we didn't need to worry." Clara felt a mix of compassion and determination. She knew many of these employees were themselves victims of Mark's schemes. "We have to make sure these people are protected and helped out of this situation," Clara stated firmly. "We can't let Mark keep using them." As the subplots advanced, Clara's team grew even more prepared to confront Mark and his network. Sophia used her insider access to pinpoint key hideouts, while Luis offered detailed information on escape routes and restricted entrances. Ana coordinated with employees to ensure everyone was informed and ready to cooperate in the rescue operation. Although tension at the mall was high, hope prevailed, fueled by the team's collective effort. "We're ready to move," Laura announced, reviewing the final details of their plan. "With Sophia and Luis on our side, we have a real shot at stopping Mark and saving Matteo." "We're doing this for Matteo, for Samuel, and for everyone else affected," Clara said, looking at her allies with renewed resolve. "Mark won't get away with this any longer." After one last review of the plan, the team prepared for the final operation. the various subplots that had emerged now intertwined, strengthening Clara and her crew's resolve in the face of the coming challenge. Mark's web of collaborators was beginning to unravel, and the hope of rescuing Matteo and putting an end to the conspiracy shone more brightly than ever. As they ventured into the mall's shadows, each team member carried not only the determination to save a child, but also the burden of confronting their own personal loyalties and inner demons. The dangerous alliances that had formed were now their greatest strength, and together they were ready to face the darkness threatening to consume all in its path. Darkness had fully settled over the shopping mall, plunging the vast structure into a gloom broken only by emergency lights and the glow of mobile devices carried by the team. In a private conference room, Clara Johnson, Ana Torres, Detective Laura Gomez, Sofia Carter, and Luis Fernandez gathered to finalize the rescue plan that would determine Matteo's fate, and that of other children held captive by Mark Carter. Clara pored over the detailed blueprints they had compiled throughout the investigation. The escape routes and hidden rooms Mark had designed now served as their path toward the final confrontation. With Sofia's help, they had identified multiple strategic points where Matteo and the other captives might be found. "We need to move fast," Clara said, looking each team member in the eye. "Mark won't give us much time before something goes wrong." "I've coordinated with the police," Laura added, her face reflecting the gravity of the situation. "They're ready to intervene whenever we call them in. We'll split up and cover all the possible locations where Mark might be holding the children." Ana, always precise, assigned tasks to each person. "Laura and Luis, you'll go through the main entrance and head to the play area. Sofia and I will take the underground tunnels to make sure there aren't any additional escape routes. Clara, you'll stay above ground to coordinate everyone's movements." Sofia nodded, the determination in her eyes unmistakable. "Got it. We won't let Matteo slip away again." With the plan set, the team split up. Clara adjusted her communication gear, double-checking that everyone remained connected. She knew any breakdown in coordination could be fatal. Entering the mall, Clara felt a surge of fear mixed with resolve. The place that had once been a haven of joy and laughter was now a maze of danger and darkness. Security lights flickered sporadically, reflecting the chaos Mark had sown. Laura and Luis headed toward the play area, where they had seen signs of tampering in the cameras. Part of the security system was disabled, leaving the zone vulnerable. They moved silently among the play structures, searching for any trace of Matteo or the other children. Meanwhile, Ana and Sofia descended into the underground tunnels, navigating labyrinthine corridors and hidden doors Mark had prepared to throw off anyone pursuing him. The air was cold and heavy, and every sound echoed in the darkness, heightening the tension. "Keep your flashlights on and follow the blueprints," Ana instructed, leading Sofia deeper into the passages. Suddenly, Laura and Luis encountered an unexpected obstacle, a pile of debris blocking their path, one of the traps Mark had set to slow down any searchers. "We'll have to find another way," Luis said, evaluating the situation. "Clara," Laura said into her phone, "we're blocked. We need an alternate route." From her vantage point, Clara responded swiftly. "Ana, Sofia, how are you two doing? Can you open a path from your end?" "We're moving through the tunnels," Ana replied. "We might be able to clear a route here." Down below, Sofia discovered a hidden door leading to a secondary control room. By flashlight, they revealed a makeshift network of monitors and security systems. Ana approached the controls, attempting to restore some of the camera feeds. "I can re-engage part of the system from here," she said. "That'll give us a better view of what's happening upstairs." With part of the security system back online, Clara could track Laura and Luis through the cameras. "It's working," Ana announced. "They can see where to go now." Using this new information, Laura and Luis found a hidden entrance that led straight to the area where Matteo and the other children were being held. Moving quickly, they slipped inside, disarming any guards they encountered. "Matteo," Laura called quietly as they moved forward, "we're here to rescue you." Recognizing his mother's voice, Matteo stopped crying and ran toward them, the other children following. Yet before they could escape, Mark appeared, blocking their way with a menacing grin. "I never imagined you'd find me so fast," he said bitterly, "but it's too late." Watching the confrontation from above, Clara instructed Anna and Sophia to seal every exit. Anna triggered the mall's security alarms, and Sophia took a defensive position, ready to act. "Mark, this ends now," Clara said firmly. "Your revenge accomplishes nothing." Mark tried to fight back, but Luis snuck up behind him, skillfully knocking him off balance. With help from the others, they subdued Mark and secured the children. As police sirens neared, Clara hugged Matteo tightly, relieved to have found him safe. Laura took control of the scene, coordinating the officers as they arrived to arrest Mark and his accomplices. "Great work, everyone," Laura said resolutely. "We've saved the children and ended this conspiracy." The team reunited, exhausted but triumphant. The tensions they had endured throughout the investigation finally came to a head. Clara looked at her allies, overwhelmed with gratitude for their collaboration and bravery. "Thank you all for your hard work and dedication," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Together, we've accomplished something incredible." Anna smiled, while Sophia and Luis nodded in satisfaction. They knew the road had been hard, but their determination had prevailed. With the rescue operation complete and Mark Carter in custody, the group gathered once again in the conference room, now lit by the first rays of dawn streaming through the windows. "We did the right thing," Clara said, gazing affectionately at Matteo. "And though it was a difficult journey, we proved that together we can overcome any obstacle." Their race against time was finally over, bringing the promise of a safer, more just future for everyone at the shopping mall. Though their work was not yet finished, the team knew they had taken a crucial step toward fully unraveling the mystery and restoring peace to their community. Daybreak had begun to brighten the mall's huge windows, yet in the hidden space where Mark Carter had taken refuge, darkness still hung like a suffocating shroud. Cautiously, Clara Johnson and Sophia Carter pressed on, their hearts beating as one as they approached the very heart of the conspiracy. The team had discovered that Mark was hiding a secret room behind a concealed door in the underground tunnels. Upon arrival, Clara took a deep breath, bracing herself for the confrontation that lay ahead. Sophia, having overcome her initial doubts, walked beside her with determination, ready to do whatever was necessary to stop her brother. "This is it," Clara whispered, pointing to the door camouflaged among the metal panels. "Stay alert." With a decisive motion, Clara pushed the door open, revealing a dimly lit room illuminated by flickering fluorescent lights. In the center stood Mark, surrounded by monitors and electronic equipment controlling the mall's security cameras. Matteo and several other children were tied to chairs, fear evident in their eyes. "Clara," Mark said with a sinister grin, "right on time for the grand finale." Clara stepped forward, her voice firm yet trembling with emotion. "Mark, this ends now. Let them go." Mark let out a harsh laugh, his gaze fixed on Clara. "You think you can stop me? You've seen what I've accomplished here. I'm letting my own demons run free." Sophia moved forward, bravely confronting her brother. "You don't have to do this, Mark. We can help you find another way." Mark approached slowly, his imposing presence filling the room. "Help me, after everything I've been through. Clara, your father never managed to solve my case. He always made me feel like the villain, as if I didn't deserve justice." Clara felt a pang in her chest at his words. She recalled her father's sacrifices, his tireless search for the truth, and how it had affected her own family. "Revenge won't bring you peace," Clara replied, fighting to stay calm. "It'll only cause more pain." Mark stopped in front of her, his dark eyes swirling with emotion. "Pain is all I have left. And now, I'm going to use your son to finish what your father never could." At that moment, the room's doors burst open, Luis Fernandez stormed in alongside other officers, armed and prepared for action. Startled by their sudden arrival, Mark attempted to resist, but was quickly subdued by the agents. "Mark Carter, you're under arrest," Detective Laura Gomez commanded, her voice echoing with authority. However, before Mark could be fully restrained, he shot Clara a furious glare. "This doesn't end here," he warned her. "There will always be more darkness." While the officers took Mark away and the children were freed, Clara felt a mixture of relief and sorrow. She had managed to save Mateo, but the emotional harm Mark had caused would leave deep scars. Sophia, watching her brother being led away, felt a sharp pang of hurt. She had made the right choice by helping the team, but she couldn't stop herself from mourning the loss of her bond with Mark. "I'm sorry, Sophia," Clara said gently, moving closer. "You did the right thing." Sophia nodded, wiping away a tear that threatened to fall. "I couldn't let him keep hurting more people, even if it means losing my brother." Meanwhile, Luis Fernandez wrestled with his own inner turmoil. After years of blind loyalty to Mark, he had finally grasped the extent of his manipulation. Though his help had uncovered the truth, it had come at a high price. Now, he would have to reconcile with his family and confront the consequences of his past actions. Alone in his small apartment, Luis answered a call from his wife. In a trembling voice, she expressed her concern and disappointment over his recent absences and changes in behavior. "Luis, something's wrong. What's going on?" He inhaled deeply, gathering the courage to speak honestly. "I made mistakes, but I'm ready to make things right. I'll tell you everything and ask for your support." Their conversation was difficult, yet marked an essential step in Luis's personal redemption. He knew the road back would be long, but he was determined to earn his family's trust again. Back at the mall, Clara, Laura, Anna, Sophia, and Luis came together once more to formally close the case. Mateo ran into Clara's arms, hugging her tightly, while the other rescued children reunited with their families, grateful and relieved. "We did it," Laura said, satisfaction ringing in her voice. "Mateo is safe, and Mark has been stopped." Clara looked at her team, a profound gratitude welling inside her. "I couldn't have done it without you. We've saved so many lives and finally put an end to this conspiracy." Anna smiled, and Sophia and Luis nodded with pride. Each had faced their own demons and emerged stronger, more united. "We proved that together we can overcome any obstacle," Sophia added. The mall began to settle. Emergency lights dimmed as the normal hustle and bustle slowly resumed. Though shaken by recent events, the community found solace in the bravery and determination shown by Clara and her team. Holding Mateo tight, Clara gazed out with new hope. Though scars remained to be healed, she felt the strength and love that bound them together. The final showdown had ended, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one defined by resilience and unity in the face of hardship. The dawn was just starting to light the horizon, tinting the sky in orange and pink hues. The mall, once a scene of fear and chaos, was now ready for a fresh start. Clara Johnson stood next to Mateo, hugging him close as they watched the sun shine on what had once been a symbol of safety and fun. Meanwhile, Detective Laura Gomez and Ana Torres coordinated the final details needed to intercept Mark Carter as he tried to flee. They had traced his movements to an emergency exit in one of the underground tunnels. Proceeding with calm precision, they headed to the rendezvous point, prepared to confront the antagonist who had caused so much pain. In the mall's hidden area, Mark was attempting to escape through a tunnel designed to outsmart his pursuers. However, Laura and Anna caught up to him just in time. With the police, alerted by Luis Fernandez, already in position, Mark had no chance of getting away. "Mark Carter, you're under arrest," Laura announced, voice firm and unyielding. "No more excuses." Beaten and too exhausted to resist, Mark raised his hands in surrender. In that moment, the tension that had weighed on him for so long vanished, ending his arc as the story's antagonist. With Mark's capture, the entire conspiracy at the mall finally unraveled. Employees he had enlisted were freed from both physical and emotional bondage. New security measures were immediately put in place to ensure such a situation could never happen again. Though marked by recent events, the mall began to recover, regaining the trust of the community. Clara and Matteo, having survived their nightmare, grew closer than ever. Clara learned to balance her professional and personal life, making time to enjoy moments with her son without neglecting her career as a nurse. Matteo found solace in his mother's constant presence and love, gradually healing the wounds left by his ordeal. Detective Laura Gomez received well-deserved recognition for cracking one of the most intricate cases of her career. Her dedication and investigative skills not only saved Matteo, but also dismantled a ring of corruption and exploitation. Laura felt a deep personal peace as she closed the case, reassured by the knowledge that she had truly made a difference in so many lives. Having faced his own demons and found redemption by helping in the rescue, Luis Fernandez chose to begin an ethical new path in security. His experience taught him the importance of integrity and courage, and he vowed to protect others from the same type of manipulation he had once fallen prey to. Freed from her past traumas, Sophia Carter became a pillar of support for Clara. Her decision to help was a brave act, one that not only saved Matteo, but also allowed her to move forward on her own journey of healing. Sophia began volunteering with advocacy groups, dedicating her time to help others who had endured similar struggles. A few months later, Clara and Ana Torres launched a children's safety program at the mall designed to safeguard young visitors and provide a worry-free environment. The program offered supervised play areas, enhanced security systems, and workshops for parents and staff. Detective Laura Gomez pursued her career with renewed determination, continually striving for justice and safety in the community. Her accomplishments in Matteo's case opened doors to new possibilities, allowing her to make a positive impact on security elsewhere. Luis Fernandez embarked on a fresh start in the security field, joining a company that valued his experience and his commitment to ethics. His past served as a lesson, motivating him to protect others with the passion and dedication he'd shown during the rescue operation. Meanwhile, Sophia Carter, finally free from her own trauma, found a new calling in helping others. Her volunteer work became a channel for channeling her experience into positive change. In a heartfelt ceremony held by the mall, Clara and Laura reflected on the case that had brought so many people together. Surrounded by friends and allies, Clara shared her thoughts with Laura. "This case taught us the importance of community and resilience," Clara said, looking around. "We've shown that any obstacle can be overcome when we stand united." Laura nodded in agreement. "We found strength in our cooperation and in our determination to protect what we care about most. The quest for justice doesn't end here, but today we celebrate a critical step toward a safer, more equitable future." Embracing each other, Clara and Laura acknowledged that they had closed a difficult yet necessary chapter in their lives. The ceremony was filled with tears of joy and words of gratitude, paying tribute to the courage and unwavering spirit of everyone involved. As sunlight finally poured into the mall, Clara and Matteo stepped out together, ready to enjoy a peaceful, secure day. The harrowing experience had brought them closer, and the future they faced was bright with hope and new beginnings. Though the community remained scarred by recent events, they found solace in the strength and unity of those who had fought to protect them. Resilience and the pursuit of justice became guiding principles, reminding everyone that, even in the darkest moments, the light of solidarity and love will always prevail. And so our story of courage, mystery, and hope comes to a close. Thank you for joining us in every chapter of this thrilling adventure. We hope you enjoyed and felt moved by Matteo's rescue and the fight against the mall's conspiracy. Remember to subscribe and click the bell for more stories full of suspense and heart. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you liked most about this plot. We'd love to hear your opinion. Until next time, keep believing in the power of community and resilience. We'll see you in the next episode.